Hello, loves. Welcome back. I'm so excited that you are here joining me today. I'm so excited to be talking about this topic of the full moon happening in Virgo this week. It is happening on March 18th, this Friday, 2022. If you are watching this video sometime in the future, that's okay. You can still come back and learn and watch and take action on the things that I'm sharing with you today. The only thing I will say is that I'm sharing this right now because it's going to be potent with the particular energy that we're experiencing right now. So you can really use it in a deeper sense right now, but you can still come back to this. This is still such valuable information and actions for you to take, no matter what time of year, no matter where you are in your life, all those things. Okay. So before we dive in, if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you join our community here. This is our main hub right now. So make sure that you turn on those notifications and come along for the ride. If you are returning, welcome back. Make sure that you scroll down to the description in this video. I have 3 amazing free gifts for you so that you can actually start diving into this work and implementing it through a live masterclass, a planner that you can actually start to plan out your workflow with from a place of flow, from that feminine ease, and a 3-step to mastering your time management, because that is why you are here. After all, you want to have more time. You can also scroll down and see all the different ways that we can work together if you're wanting to get more one-on-one support or group coaching. All of that information is in the description below. Okay, so let's talk about the full moon in Virgo. I want to first kind of talk about why I'm talking about this. Astrology is something that I do in my work with my one-on-one clients. I also have a cosmic balance reading, which is a one-time session where we dive into your particular birth chart in order to identify your custom system for your rhythm of rest. So how are you meant to be resting? Because resting is something that's actually really hard for all of us, basically. And then what is your unique workflow? So how are you meant to be working? How are you meant to be resting? And what's the balance between that? So if you're interested in that, scroll down to the description. The link is below. But outside of that, I really love to use astrology in this work because it represents the ebbs and flows of life. So I use astrology, I use cycle syncing, and I use seasonal living. So all of this for me is cyclical living because it's all about these cycles of how life flows. And one of the best examples of this is literally looking at nature, looking at the seasons and how we have to go through these ebbs and flows of winter phases where things are slow, where nothing grows, to the summer phases where we are active and we're out there and we're executing beautiful things. And then back to, winter/fall, where how do we come down? How do we turn inward? How do we reflect? And so much of the masculine focused way that we've been taught to work has taught us that we just need to be planning and executing all the time. And that's why we get burnt out, because we're not honoring the full cycle of how we are meant to be showing up. And because we are human beings, we are part of nature, we are part of these flows, we have our own flows of life. And so we work that same way as well. So I don't talk about every single astrological thing that's happening. I don't talk about all the transits. I really focus on the ones that are relevant to you when it comes to work-life balance, understanding your values of how you want to be working. And then, like I just said, like these ebbs and flows of life, where are we maybe in a cycle where we want to slow down more and we want to tune in versus a time in the cycle where we want to be active and we want to get out there and we want to harness the productive energy that's coming through, right? So that's why I'm bringing up the full moon in Virgo this Friday, because it is all about the ending of a full cycle. Okay, we're ending an entire year of the zodiac cycle. So the entire astrological year is coming to an end. And when Aries season starts next week, we're going to start a new quote unquote year. And I talked about this way back when I had my decluttering business, that springtime is the time that we actually want to be decluttering, hello, spring cleaning, and also starting out with our new goals, our new projects, our new rituals, because that's when we have this energy of, okay, I'm ready to initiate, I'm ready to plan, I'm ready to hit the ground running, which most of us and collectively and astrologically, now that I understand all of this, we don't have at the beginning of January, right? We're still in that hibernation phase. We want to be cozy. We want to cuddle up on the couch and eat mac and cheese, and like starting our rituals and routines there, like that starts to feel hard, right? So number one, I'm talking about this full moon because it's a really important culmination to end off not just, a cycle of this particular moon, but a cycle of this entire year. And because of the relevance of it, of what the themes are around this full moon. So this full moon in Virgo, and Virgo specifically, is all about decluttering. It's all about clearing. It's all about getting organized. Virgo loves routines, rituals, taking action on small steps and feeling productive. We also have a little bit of this like perfectionist side of Virgo, where it's like, okay, I want to put everything in order. I want to get organized, but then I want it to be perfect so that when it's perfect, I have that attention to detail. I feel really good about things, and then I can like take that next step forward. So we want to be mindful of, maybe leaning too much into perfectionism right now in this time. But what I really want to focus on is the clearing and decluttering aspects of this full moon in Virgo, and the theme around clearing and decluttering with Virgo, the sign of Virgo. So there's a few things that I want to encourage you to look at here. I want to encourage you to look at the last 6 months of your year, so beginning of September, and really consider what are the themes that have come up, what are the cycles that have begun, and what are the cycles that you're ready to bring to an end with this full moon. Again, it's about culmination. And I want to encourage you to celebrate everything that you've achieved, accomplished, done in the last 6 months, okay? And then I want you to extend it to the whole last year, okay? So since March last year, and again, technically, this is the beginning of a new year if we're looking at the zodiac cycle. So to really reflect on this past year and go into what you're grateful for, what you're celebrating, what went really well. And then, of course, as always, paying attention to detail, as the Virgo theme does, what maybe didn't go so well. What do you want to improve on? And most importantly, I want you to consider what you're letting go of. So that's really what I want to talk about here, giving you the whole little overview. And now, how do we actually harness this clearing energy? Because that is what Decluttered Intentions started out as. We're a declutter consultancy. And that's still at our core what my business is about. It's about clearing all the things that are not aligned with you so that you can align yourself more clearly with your intentions. Because when you're showing up in alignment with your intentions, that's where you work from a place of flow. That's where you are tapped into the kind of work style you want to have, and having a work style that supports the kind of lifestyle you want to have. And if we're not clear on those intentions, then how do we know how and what kind of systems you want to be putting into place that support that, right? So this is a really potent time for you to really get clear on what your intentions are, and to then clear the things that are no longer in alignment with that, okay? So I want to encourage you, again, Virgo, attention to detail. It's a big theme with this sign, to really hone in on one particular area of your life. And then in that particular area, to hone in on one specific factor or facet of that area. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example that I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at the area of my business, and I'm going to be specifically looking, and this is actually a theme that's come up a lot, and I'm going to be sharing a lot more about the story of what's going on behind this at some later dates. But for me, the theme is all about communication, and like, how am I communicating my message with you, right? How am I relaying it? It's through YouTube now. It was on Instagram for many, many years. It's where I built up my business. It was also on Facebook, emails. Like, there's so many options of how I can be showing up and sharing this message with you. But if I'm doing all of them, I'm spreading myself too thin, and I'm getting myself overwhelmed and overworked, and it doesn't feel good because I'm feeling burnt out, right? And then I can't show up as authentically and fully and energized as I would like to for you. And you're going to feel that, and it's going to feel uncomfortable or not so nice for you to show up in my space, right? So it's this, again, a cycle. And so for me, that's my specific area. I'm not just looking at my business, but I'm also specifically getting even more specific and looking at, how am I communicating my message? How do I want to be showing up in a way that is streamlined and that feels good and that feels easeful, because those are my intentions, but also that I can still create momentum moving forward. Like, where's that balance? What do I need to clear? And I'll talk more about that once that becomes clear to me moving forward, so that I'm not spreading myself thin, right? When we talk about creating space, when we talk about decluttering, what we're really doing is we are, like I said, aligning with the things that are truly important with you, to you. And then the reason we want to do that is so that you can create space for what you do truly want, so that you can bring it into your life. So like using my example from before, if I'm showing up on all the platforms, my intention isn't to show up on all the platforms. My intention is something bigger. I want to share this message with you. I want to be able to serve you and help you and guide you the way I did for myself and the way I do for my clients now into a new way of showing up in how you're working, so that you have the time and the energy and the ease in your life, right? That's the bigger intention. Me showing up on all the platforms actually prevents me from doing that, even though externally that's what everyone tells you to do, right? So coming back to my intentions, it's, okay, that's not aligned with me because I'm going to burn myself out. So what do I need to clear here? And this is what I want you to think about in your life right now, in the area that you've chosen. What do you need to clear in order to make space for something new to come in, or to simply just have space? And either that could be something new comes in, such as an opportunity or something that actually fills that space, or it could quite literally just be an idea, an inspiration, because you've created this space where you're not constantly being pulled in a million different directions. You now have space to tap into that intuition, to tap into different ways of doing things, to explore, to read, to learn something else that might have interested you. And you're like, I feel really called to do that, but like, I don't have time because I'm doing all this other stuff. Okay, what needs to be cleared then? What has to give, so that you can make space for the thing that actually is in alignment for you to come into your life? Let me know if that makes sense in the comments. I would love to hear what your specific areas that you're wanting to focus on. And I want you to just think of these three steps that you can take. One is to redefine this particular area of your life. So why is this an area that you want to focus on? Why is it important to you? Two is redirect. If you don't have the time and space right now in this area, there's something that's blocking you in this area, you clearly want to clear something here. What is that thing? What are you wanting to clear? Maybe there's a different direction you want to be going in. What's the thing that you want to take action on? And then three is space. What's the space that you're creating because you've done steps 1 and 2? How are you opening yourself up to something more? I love the example of, if you still have your foot in one boat and you're trying to get onto the other boat and you're kind of bouncing between both of those boats, we're unstable, we're not grounded, and we don't actually have space for either of those because we're not in either of those committed places, right? We're not actually creating space for a partner to come in when we're still, in a different relationship, or when we're settling for something that's not aligned for us. There's all these different examples that we can go into. So let's dive into it in the comments. I would love to hear what your biggest takeaway is, what your area is that you're going to be decluttering for this full moon in Virgo, and how it feels once you have cleared it. There's an energetic experience that happens when we declutter anything, whether it's a relationship, a job, a closet. It doesn't really matter what it is. We feel it energetically. And that's really what I want to share with you here today. That's why we're talking about this full moon in Virgo as well. This is your clearing. This is time to let go of the shit. This is time to let go of the thing you've been holding on to, the limiting belief, the physical item, the relationship, the job, the fear, whatever it is. Give yourself permission to let it go. Use the energy right now to truly release it. Take the physical action to be releasing it. And like I said, even if you're watching this video at a later date, it doesn't matter. You can still do this process. This is the key foundation to making space for alignment to come into your life. And until we clear it, we can't actually create the thing that we want to be creating, because our energies aren't aligned with that thing. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I wish you a beautiful full moon, a beautiful time reflecting and releasing, and I'll talk to you soon.